All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Vigil team call for July 16th, 2024. And today's call is going to be on leads because there have been a lot of changes that have happened with our leads, and I want to discover that, go over that with you guys. I'll share my screen. We'll cover some of that. But the big news in the agency right now, right? So we're gonna recognize that is Miss Brenda King is on a $25,000 month so far.
Congratulations.
25,000 and some change, like 25,300. I think we were fixing some mistakes that home office made going in there and messing with her applications. But that's on 11 applications. So great job, Brenda. You're averaging just over $2,000 APV per application. So that tells me that you are really focusing on the client and really understanding what they're looking for, diving in, right? So I know one of those is like 4 grand, and then a lot of the IULs were 2,300-ish, right? So, but great job on that. If you want to just give any quick, 2 minutes on what's led to your success and even the hard part about getting to that part. So
Yeah, so I think probably the biggest portion of it is I know we all say it, but I was really bad about doing it, is more so asking the client what they want and not presumptively assuming based off of their parameters what we should guide them to. Because, like in the scripts and stuff, it says like, in the Chris Leak training or whatever training you're doing, like it always says like, okay, if they're like 60 years old and over, offer them or guide them to this direction. Or if they're like in this fame, guide them towards like half mortgage payoff, stuff like that. But I've really just trying to be adamant about asking their need, their why, like why they want this coverage and stuff like that. And that's kind of been a big game changer because like those big NLG policies I wrote, I had presumptively thinking they have a big mortgage. They were middle age, so full mortgage probably wasn't going to be in their budget. So I thought, and I didn't ask those questions. So I had come up with options that were in my head what they wanted. And so when I started digging in, I started showing things. She's like, no, we want full mortgage coverage or nothing. And so I showed her the prices and she was like, yeah, that's fine. Like we have the budget for that. I want that because we need that. And so I, just asking them exactly what it is they need. The appointment I did yesterday, same thing. Like she had $725,000 worth of mortgage across 3 different homes. And so we just talked about like, okay, what is the plan for these houses? She doesn't have kids. She doesn't have anything like that. So full mortgage really wasn't needed for her. She needed something to cover that gap so that way the family could sell the homes, get the equity and everything like that. So that's why we went more of a critical period concept for her because that's what made most sense for her because that's what she said based on what I asked. So just asking more detailed questions, and I was pretty bad about that in the beginning, just more so sticking to like the guidelines instead of actually finding out what it is they want.
yeah, that's important, right? So don't spend your client's money, right? It's very easy for us to assume that they can't afford something or they won't or they don't want to buy it because it's too much, right? Um, and those guidelines are just that, guys. They're just guidelines, right? This is just to help you understand where most people are going to qualify. But you always, and I say this carefully, but you always want to show something that's even crazy to you. When I've presented $1,500 a month, and someone was like, "Yeah, I'll take that." It's hard to contain your excitement, right? You're just like, Really? You want 15,000, $1,500 a month in premium? Okay, cool." But at the end of the day, you know, it's not your money that you're spending. It's their money, right? And they're deciding what's best for them. So you'll hear Tony Capistrano, right? And I mention him just because everyone knows Tony, Coach Tony, 3 million in production, right? Here at Cemetery. He'll show them the most that they qualify for, something a little bit lower, and then exactly what they want, right? And then if he doesn't have that, he'll have a few other options that are half and then quarter or whatever. But he'll show those three options. And once he started to do that, you would see that his average premium per case was like 3,500 per case. It doesn't necessarily mean it was 3,500 per application, but that might have been 2, 3, or 4 policies in one household. So it really does help to really understand that. Brenda, will you also talk about what has possibly changed because I mean, this is a very transparent business, right? And we all know that. But there was a dry spell there, right? So I know some of this is follow-up, right? So just talk about that real quick, that perseverance mindset.
Yeah, so I mean, like the big week I had last week, that client definitely was, like Michael said, a follow-up client. She came in as a digital lead for mortgage protection, or sorry, digital lead for life insurance. And we did a policy replacement for her for Americo ROP. And for her, she mentioned stuff about her kids, but didn't want to do it now. And I already knew, like, A, I know she wanted this. B, I knew it would be good policies. And so I just kept on her, and every couple months, hey, you ready? No, she wanted to wait till after the baby was born. The baby was born. Hey, you ready? No, my husband just left. Like, I'm not in the mind space. Follow up, follow up, follow up, until literally she ended up texting me and was like, hey, Brenda, like, can we get this taken care of this weekend? And again, like I was like, yep, yes, automatically, let's get it done, because I knew she wanted it. I know they needed it. And we just kept in contact with each other. And it's the same thing. I ran another really good appointment yesterday, and it's going to be a follow-up one. But again, I feel fine with that because I talked to the guy. We figured out the need. We figured out where that gap is. I asked him the questions he wanted. He wants for him full mortgage, and for his wife only critical period because he has the more money. And again, they're like, we're not home. We won't be home. I want to look at my term policies there to make sure I fill in that gap. Can you call me next Friday so that way we know how much to apply for? I said, perfect, because we already had that conversation of, I'll do a follow up because I know that there's grounds to stand on with them to make it worth my time to follow up with them.
And you did that. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay. And you did that at the boot camp, right?
That one, no, that one was just one that I ran yesterday, but the boot camp ones, those were those big term policies, but it was the same thing. Like those policies took a couple days because they both had a death in the family. That was another reason why her urgency on wanting to get it done, because I had the first conversation with them as they were driving to a funeral. And so, they weren't in the position, they didn't have all the information, but she was like, hey, follow up with me, we'll get it done. One application I finished on, what was that, Saturday, and got her to sign it. He was still dealing with the family stuff, so I couldn't finish his application till later. Took some texting back and forth, took some time to actually square him, sit him down. But then I finally got him to sign it. It still took him a couple days to go through that. And then it finally, got taken care of on yesterday or whenever that was for them. But again, just staying in that follow up because they said they needed it. They saw the value in it. And it was just on my end to kind of keep pushing politely to make sure that we, got it done and got it taken care of for them. Because otherwise, I know they would throw it to the back burner and kind of, forget about it like most people do because they want it, but they don't want to do it right now, kind of a thing.
Perfect. No, thank you for that. And guys, there's three simple takeaways there, right? So the first one is having the right mindset to understand that this isn't a right now business, right? This is the long-term business. So this isn't about getting rich quick, right? The second one is, not to spend your clients' money, right? Like let them tell you what they can afford. And that was probably one of the biggest lessons that we had to learn, right, Avila, when we were at Northwestern, right? TI, was you could be sitting across from someone that may not look like they can afford $1,000 a month, right? They might drive a 1992 Toyota Camry, right, with 300,000 miles on it. But that's exactly why they can afford the $1,000 a month, right? Because they're investing in themselves and they're not investing in worldly things, right? In possessions and things like that. So just something to consider there. And then the third thing is that this is a long game, right? So you got to have the right mindset. So mindset, not spending your client's money, right? And then understanding their why. I mean, you really do have to understand their why. You got to understand your why for doing this. And I think Linda's another good example of that, right? Because Linda came to us almost 18 months ago. And she wanted to jump into this full time. She was on the verge of having to sign a contract, not contract, and then she ended up signing her school contract, right? She went through this last school year. She saw the success here, and then she was like, this is really what I want to do. I want to get my time back. So, but getting back to Brenda, great job.
I just wanted to
I
add it like one tiny little nugget also that I need, again, that made me realize something I need to do better about is fully explaining, especially for the mortgage protection concept, fully explaining that it doesn't go to the lender or to the mortgage company like it goes to the family. Because for those terms that I did over the weekend, she's like, well, we have this much in the mortgage, yada, yada, yada. How does this all work? And so I told her, well, the death benefit, so neat if it pays out, goes to the person of your choosing. And she's like, oh, well, we just installed a pool, so I have another debt of $100,000 for the pool. Can that be added in there also? And I said, absolutely. And so that's why we bumped it up to 650 versus their actual mortgage was only like five and some change, but she asked deliberately about, that other loan that they have outstanding now because of that improvement, if that could be included. And absolutely it can be.
Nope, that's perfect. Yeah, so again, right, that goes into our role and purpose when we're doing our presentation and making sure that we're not skipping those steps, right? Because really understanding the features and benefits of what we offer is just as important as explaining your role and purpose, which is just as explaining as taking the app or as asking the questions in the application as they're written, right? So that's a very crucial step to not to overlook. And that was one of those mistakes that I was making, back in 2018 when I almost quit this business, is because I was doing that. I was leaving the little details out, and the little details make the bigger picture. So something to think about when it comes to that. All right, so I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to run through this together. Okay, so where are we here? Go. All right. So this is just HQ. So when you log into HQ,
Your
this is
screen's
your,
not showing.
it's not.
I
Hmm.
saw it. The shared screen.
You
Yeah.
do? No.
Maybe you have your monitors.
Yeah, it's showing.
Okay.
Now we're good.
All right. So this is HQ. This is your dashboard, and you can usually tell where you're at if you click here. So this is my dashboard. Right here is where all the big announcements happen. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there's little arrows there. Sometimes they're hard to see. So we're just going to click on this, placing your standing bonus lead order. Okay. And this is going to take us to the lead orders page. And I'll show you guys how to get here when that notification is gone. Okay. All right. So everything with Symmetry is value based or contract based. Okay. So when it comes to pricing, so based on your current commission rate is what your pricing will be for your leads. Okay. So we have a couple of different lead types that you can order, right? You can get a standing lead order, so an SLO, and that's really the only way to get a fresh lead at its freshest. Okay, so as it comes in, it'll be assigned to you as long as you have a standing lead order. One of the changes that they just made to standing lead orders for A leads is it is going to be based on performance. So if you're a brand new agent, it's not something you need to worry about. But if you've been here for any amount of time, and let's just say maybe you've been here for a year and you've only written a handful of policies, you will not be one of the top agents that will receive these leads right away. You'll fall further down the line. So it's important, and Armando, you were asking this question earlier, right? So it's important that you work your way up to these leads, that you have a really good close ratio. Okay. And what Symmetry is looking for is a 60%, or sorry, a 30% close ratio, technically, right? So 30% close ratio on your leads in general. And the way that you do that is you combine bonus leads and A leads, and your overall close ratio is what they're looking at. So what do I mean by close ratio? So if you buy 10 leads and you write 3 applications, it doesn't matter if you write them in one household or over 3 households, right? So the 10 leads to 3 applications, so that's 30%, right? Of that. So 3 applications out of the 10 prospects that you have, that would be a 30% close ratio. The other type of lead order is a one-time lead order. And this can be for A leads and this can be for bonus leads. Okay. So OTLO, one-time lead order, or an SLO, a standing lead order. All right. So these are the different types of leads, and they call these lead channels, right? And this is based on the way that they are created or generated or how they came across them. So a mail-in lead is when we send a letter, and it's usually us, I say us, right? When Cemetery's Mail House sends a letter to someone that has a home loan or a refinance, and they are offering them our services. Someone at that house fills the form out, right? So it's usually via letter. They receive that letter and it has a website or a phone number on there. They can log on to the website and complete their information that way. And or they can call the 1-800 number and do it that way. I also noticed that one of the things that they added recently was a QR code. So if you ever see your lead sheet when it comes in, right? So you'll get the lead sheet, and I know it's blurred out for client information, but there'll be a QR code on the bottom of that, and the person can scan that and complete their information as well, because that's basically like going to the website. Okay. So that's mortgage protection. That's what Cemetery was built on, for the mail-in leads. Okay, mortgage protection is the primary product that we're covering when it comes to mail-in leads. Call-in leads are very similar to the above, but they're only generated from the postcard. That's it, right? So a call-in lead is a postcard that they received. It has a unique identifying number on there that they have to enter when they call that 800 number. And then they enter their information there. So they'll enter mortgage amount, lender, co-borrow information, lender name, that kind of stuff. All right. Next is going to be digital lighthouse leads. And I believe this is what Linda, or Brett, sorry, not Linda. This is what you're working on right now, Brenda, is lighthouse leads.
Yep, I have a SLO for Lighthouse.
Okay, so she has a standing lead order. That means weekly she gets, we'll just say 10. I don't know what number she's at, but she gets 10 lighthouse leads every week. So for someone like you, Armando, right, when you get to that point, if you have a standing lead order for digital lighthouse leads on Monday, or we'll just say, what day is yours, Brenda? Does yours reset? Thursday?
So with Digital Lighthouse, I guess they reset Friday night into Saturday. So when the cemetery week ends to when it starts is when they refill it. So I usually get charged Friday night into Saturday, and then the leads come in through that full next week.
Perfect. So they did make that adjustment. Before it was like if you submitted your order on a Tuesday, you would get your leads on Wednesday. So now it follows the whole cemetery model. So the cemetery week begins at midnight on Saturday and it ends at midnight on Friday, right? So every Friday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that's when the cemetery week ends. And then at 12 o'clock a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, that's when it starts on Saturday for the new week. So what would happen, Armando, is you would get charged Friday night, Saturday morning, somewhere in between there for whatever amount of leads that you're purchasing. And then as those leads are generated and as they come in, they will be filtered to you through your switchboard. We have digital economy leads. And I'm gonna say on these, so I submitted an order for these. Geez, when did we fill those out, Brenda? Because me, you, and Shania all turned in our digital economy leads on the same day. Was that 2 months ago? 3 months ago?
I canceled mine like 3 months ago because I never got any reply on them. But I mean, it long time ago, long time
Yeah.
ago.
So I didn't cancel mine, right? Because I do things, I test things just for you guys on the team. Well, on Saturday morning, I wake up to 8, 9, 10, 11, 22. All of a sudden I start getting all these leads, and I'm like, where are they coming from? Like, I didn't authorize any of this. Yeah, I forgot because I had placed this order a long time ago. They finally just approved me to get these ones specifically. And these digital economy leads are essentially leads that were generated online, and they forgot pieces of information. And they may not have forgotten, they may have stopped in the process. I'm going to go ahead and mute you out real quick. They may have stopped. How many of you guys have ever been on Facebook, TikTok, something like that? You're like, oh, this product looks cool, right? And you start filling out the information. You give them your first name, your email, that kind of thing. And then you get to the offer, right? And you're like, oh, I don't want this anymore. I mean, I've done it, right? I do it all the time. So those are how these leads are generated. So someone had intent. They're not necessarily high intent to complete it, but they were definitely interested in life insurance at that time. Okay. And then external vendor. This one is really going to be up to you guys. I am not going to promote this one as much as they probably want us to, but essentially an external vendor lead is a lead that was sold to a different agent at a different company, right? We'll just say Senior Life Globe, FFL, they were sold as a brand new lead to them at that point. They weren't closed at the time that Cemetery purchased it, and they went into the bonus lead category. So these leads are now sold as B leads here at Cemetery, which means that 1 or 2 people have probably called on them. Okay. They're still great value. That you still find some gold nuggets in these older external vendors. And then you have external partners. Okay, so external partner leads, they can vary from mortgage protection, IUL, retirement, recruiting, you name it. The 2 vendors that we use right now are Level Up leads and Razor Ridge leads. Okay. Then we have the lead levels, and that's what you were asking about a minute ago, Armando, right? So here they're using the mail in as an example. So you have mail in as the channel, MI, and then A is the lead level. A, B, C, D, and it goes all the way to H, I want to say, or A through G. Yeah, A through G. So A leads right here are fresh, newly generated leads, and then bonus leads. B through G are categorized based on the number of times the lead has been renewed or sold or whatever you guys want to call it, right? So an A lead is exclusive to the agent for 17 days that buys it initially. And then after that, it transitions to the bonus lead structure. And then every 14 days, it's going to be reassigned or it's available for purchase to someone else. These are all the current lead types that we have. Okay. So we have mortgage protection, Spanish mortgage protection. Leonard, I hope you're hearing that. Life insurance, this is just a general life lead, right? And that's why they have a GL there. Final expense, probably my favorite lead to work right now. Infinite banking. So you do have to get certified for infinite banking, retirement solutions, IULs, or recruiting leads, and that just requires my approval. You don't need certification on that. So if you guys want to buy recruiting leads, you can. I got 20 of them last week as well, and all of them were unlicensed leads, so they were $20 a piece. Okay, so here you go. How do you place these orders, right? So this is really how we're looking at it. So HQ, you can create a standing lead order. I'm going to show you guys where to do that here in a second. In Opt, you can go and place a one-time lead order as well. There's the PDF form, and that's for bonus leads. So it's like the one that Linda was talking about earlier. She filled out the form. She just emails it directly to leads, and they charge her card each week for the amount of leads that she's requesting. And then there's a PDF form that goes through Quility as well. So these were going to be for like your bonus leads with Lighthouse, recruiting, just, you know, the economy leads, different things like that. And there's the different pages. You can see all that right here, right? So you got your call-in lead page, you have your Lighthouse lead page, your economy leads page. So, all right, anyone have questions? I know this is a lot to go through, so let me stop sharing for a quick second so I can answer those questions.
I just want to clarify the extender vendor, external vendor. Does that
Yep.
get lumped into our B leads?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
got it.
Yes.
Because yeah, with like my B1 and B2s, a lot of them have said, "Oh yeah, a lot of you have been calling me, or I've already talked to somebody, or something like that."
Yeah, and that was
So
something that they addressed on the Wednesday call last week, right?
yeah,
Was that, you know, with the bonus leads, and external leads, they have been contacted by someone most likely.
okay. And then when does it start that you are exclusive to that B lead?
You're only exclusive from the time that it hits your inbox for 14 days.
Okay, so has that started already?
That did start this weekend.
Okay, so are they gonna send out any notifications, or you have to keep track of your dates and when you bought the leads?
That's a great question. I don't know.
And then
That's
like,
something
does
you
it
can
go
ask.
away? Yeah, does it go away in your opt after like the 14th
It-
day?
So it does not go away in your opt. All that happens is that any switchboard automations would cease. So you would not be
Okay.
able to text them anymore from your switchboard accounts.
But then
But
you
that
could also continue contacting them through your own phone.
you can contact them through email or through your phone. Correct.
Okay. And
Yes.
then for the bonus or for the standing lead order for Digital Lighthouse, is that the same procedure? You fill out a PDF, or was that a different procedure for that?
So that one you would do a jot form on that specific page, and I'll show you guys where to do that in just a minute. Is there something else you wanted to add, Brenda?
No, I just was making sure I understand. So the external lead vendors, they are being mixed in, those leads are being mixed in with the B mortgage protection leads?
Yep, I'll go back and I'll show you guys where that's at on
And
this.
can you show me where it was that you pulled up that whole form? I was just trying to look through it for it in HQ to like read along with you.
So just go to HQ, go to your
Mhm,
dashboard, and then I just
mhm.
clicked on the graphic that shows the like placing a bonus lead. So it was here. I just clicked on here.
Okay,
So that's right in HQ on your dashboard. So from home, dashboard, right? This will be your dashboard. And then
okay.
just toggle till you get there. Got it?
Because when I pull, and then where did you go? Because when I pull up that, it only shows me like a quick thing and then it shows me a video of what's his face.
Hmm. If you don't mind sharing your screen, let's just go ahead and walk through that real quick. Go for it.
Um,
Okay, so click on home. Yep. And then click on the next one. That's, yeah, no, keep going.
this one? Oh, maybe I was doing the wrong one.
Yeah, keep going, keep going. That one.
This one. Oh, okay. Just
Yep,
kidding. I was doing the wrong one.
that's all right. And then scroll down. There you go.
And so these are the forms that we fill out.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Gotcha. Call
Yes,
in.
ma'am. All right, I'm gonna turn
Cool.
yours off and then
Yep.
go back to mine. All right, so you guys were asking that question about the external lead vendor. So right here, it says, external lead vendor. External vendors were distributed previously as A leads to non-SFG agents, then purchased by Quility as B level leads. Okay. And so my understanding, and I haven't experienced this yet, obviously, is it would be like or we'll just say MP, right? So mortgage protection, or MI, right? So mail in, and then it would be C, right, for like the level, or B, right? B for the level, and then EX is my understanding of the way the lead would be identified. So you would have 5 letters identifying the lead type. And then if it was an external partner, it would be a DE. So I hope that makes sense to you guys, okay? And if it doesn't, I mean, we can always do one-on-ones, different things like that as well. All right, so where were we at? We were here. Okay, so if you want to place your order in HQ, what you have to do is you have to click up here. So all of you guys have this icon up here. It should be a picture of yourself. If not, it's just something simple, right? So you click on that, and then you go to your ledger and you can add your payment. So you would go to here, account balance, and then you would just add a payment method right there. That's weird. I had like 4 cards there earlier today, but that I didn't see that red thing. Anyway, you can click top off your account if you need to. But like it's saying this is topped off, so I'm not sure what happened there. Or you can add in your card numbers here. Okay, so that is that part. Let's go back one. And yeah, see, my HQ is just having issues. I'm not sure what's going on with it today. Anyway, for the different lead orders as well, there's usually a minimum quantity of 5 leads per order. If you guys are wanting to place a large order, it goes in a round robin style. So like if you place an order for 50 bonus leads every week, right? Or maybe we'll just say maybe 20 call-in leads every week. I recommend doing is just placing your order 5 times. So place 5 different orders or 4 different orders for 5 leads each, or whatever the minimum is to get you there. Because it's round robin, every time your name comes up, you're going to get a lead assigned. So if you have 40, we'll just do this. If you have 40 on a standing lead order, right? Your name comes up the first time, and then you got to wait until everyone else comes up, and then you get your second lead. So if you're waiting for 40 leads a week, you're waiting for that cycle, right, to happen every time. So if you do it with 10, your name drops into that cycle numerous times because you have multiple orders placed. So now instead of waiting to go all the way through the roster, now your name is in that roster multiple times. So you come up to bat a few times per inning, right? So they accept MasterCard, Visa, Discover, and American Express. They do top off. Oh, so here's the model, right? So your account top off is charged for the leads on Saturday. They assign them throughout the week. You can see that, right? And then they top you off. So let's say that you had an order for 10. Oh, this says 5. Okay, so you place a new order for 5, so they charge you for it. That's you did that midweek. You only got 1 lead that week. So then on Saturday, they charge you for 1 more lead, and you got 5 available for that week. So as you get your leads, they take the money out of your bucket, and then you have nothing left because you got all your leads. And then on Saturday, they charge you for all 5 leads again. And sometimes it works great. Sometimes, sometimes you get all your leads, sometimes you don't. And that's part of why I was just saying, if you want multiple leads, make sure that you guys are placing smaller orders more often. Okay. And I mean, there's a ton of stuff that we can go through on this one page, right? So all the different forms. These are the order forms, and this is probably the easiest place to get all this information. So this is lead orders. If you go here to the left-hand side, you can go to leads, and then
You're
you
not
can.
screen sharing.
Oh, sorry guys. All right. So this is where we're still here, still on the same page, but as like I said, you guys can see there's a lot of information, here. Okay. I would save this. I'll just copy this and share it here in the chat. That way everyone has it. Bookmark that. You'll have to log in every time you want to go to it, but at least you have the direct link. Because when you click on this, there's really no place to get to that from here. And I did put in a support ticket for that. So this should be where you go to Quality Leads Marketplace, but it takes you to a whole different sheet. Okay. But this has all the different things that you need as well. So Lighthouse Leads, digital recruiting, call and lead orders. This is for me. So if I need to approve any orders for you guys, right? Any leads that you guys may have, all the different fact sheets. So this is good for you guys to see as well. The different fact sheets. And we'll look at this one really quick. Let's just look at mail-in bonus leads, because that's where most people are. Just we have so many new agents. So this tells you what your pricing is, right? So based on your lead level, so a mail-in B lead or a mail-in C lead, here you go. So a B lead is $13 if you're a brand new agent, and the price goes up the higher you go in. You go up, and then so you have exclusivity for 14 days on a MIB. On an MIC, you have another 14. You have 14 days as well, and those are $7. MID, right? $2.50. You get that for a month, we'll just say. And then same thing, MIE, a month. And then, I mean, we go all the way down to 50-cent leads. If I see leads here, guys, at this point, me personally, I am buying those up. I have made tens of thousands of dollars off of 50-cent leads. They may take longer, right? Because you have to call more of them to get in touch with them. You may get cussed out a handful of times, right? You may get people that are upset with you, whatever the case is. But here, this is something I told Linda just this last week, something I've told Brenda in the past, and something I've told everyone on this call, is what happens on the other end of the line is not your problem. It's not, it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're calling. These people at one point in time, it was important to them. They asked for someone to call, and all you're doing is doing your job. You heard that today from Frank, if you were on the Daily Huddle. This client of his that he helped, right, who ended up lapsing his policy. Frank could have probably saved that policy a lot sooner. And this is why I'll send you guys a message if I see a client's policy has fallen off payment or something like that. Matt, how many text messages or phone calls have you gotten from me and you're like, dude, I'm on it? And I'll be like, hey, I know you're on it, but hey, it's our job, right? So how many phone calls have you gotten from me about people missing their payments or weird things like that happening?
It's nonstop, bro, because and that's a benefit of you know, that we get from you, because I could get, you know, 5 or 6, you know, a week and be like, hey, this one's behind or this one's about to lapse, something like that, right? And it could have been a little thing as, oh, I changed banks, you know. It's not the fact that they canceled, like they just changed banks. People do that all the time. So, and last thing you want to do is let it lapse, you know. My client Linda Shope canceled me and went with Colonial for a $300 death benefit, came back, but she came back graded and she passed away.
Yep.
You know, so she didn't get the first death benefit we originally tried. So like, just talk to them, you know, like, hey, you know, I even just start, you know, hey, Michael, did you change banks? It looks like they were unable to draft.
Yep.
Simple as
Just be
that.
just be proactive about it, right? But again, what's happening on the other end of the line doesn't necessarily mean that it's because of you calling. They could have had a bad day. They could have had a death in the family. They could have gotten a fight with their wife, their girlfriend, their kids, you name it, right? Their dog could have died. People could just be in a bad mood that day. I've called people one day, been cussed out, called them right back the next day, and they're like, "Oh, Michael, so glad you finally called," you know. And it
No
happens.
one's ever called me.
Yeah, exactly. How many times? Okay. And I'm going to go with Ti, Matt, and Brenda, since you guys have sold the most out of everyone here. How many times have you called someone 35, 40 times? And then the one time you do talk to them, they're like, oh, no one's ever called me.
It's all the time, man. It's such all the time.
And I'm like, oh, really? Because I called you 95 times before this. And you don't say that, obviously, you know, but you know, it happens all
And
the time.
I've even had it a couple times where, my switchboard is dropped on them and sent them messages. I've called them from my switchboard number. Hey, this is Brenda. Hey, this is Brenda, blah, blah, blah. And then I call them from my regular cell phone and they're like, oh yeah, no one's ever reached out about this. And I'm like, okay,
Yep.
Well,
so glad I got a hold of you.
timing is everything because I mean, Mondo, you're a prime example of this, man. I mean, your wife has been my client for many years, and she's like, "You got to meet my husband. You got to meet my husband." You know, and here you are now. You're working with us. You know.
Very cool.
All right, guys, we're a little over time, and I want to make sure that I respect your time. So I'm just going to end this recording portion, and then I'll stay on and answer any additional questions you guys have. Go through the ordering process if you guys need it. Okay, so thank you all for attending today, and give me 1 second.